Hello, my crafty friend, and welcome to the flip through of a very special book to me. I think I've mentioned in previous videos that besides making junk journals and journaling, my other big passion is crystal healing and working with gemstones and making jewelry. So this very special, one-of-a-kind book is kind of the combination of my two favorite things. It's a journal, but it's also a crystal healer's collection. I thought this one would make the perfect kind of book of shadows for a light worker, somebody who's interested in white magic and healing and sacred things like that. So it is chock full of crystals and moons and flowers and other fun magical things. So the first thing is the boho tassel on the front, which is completely removable. I've put it on a little mini bulldog clip, and it's a fun collection of vintage laces, rickrack, cool fibers, just different strands of yarn. And what makes this one really special is that the seam binding and the rickracks come from my grandmom's collection. She recently gave me a lot of fun sewing things like buttons and fabrics and trims to use in journals. And the thin green rickrack, where is it? Here. There was a really thin one. I thought I saw it a second ago. This one. This is actually not only vintage, it's actually antique, and it was part of my great-grandmother's collection. So there's a cool bit of history in this collection. And then also clipped to it is this detachable bracelet. And I found this while out thrifting, and it just suited the colors and the theme of this book so perfectly. So they're just rhinestones. They're not actually gems, but I felt like the moons are so symbolic of light work and connecting with the celestial realm. So with this removed, the cover is adorned with cool cutout embroidery pieces from a sari and natural gemstones. So we have amethyst, malachite, and amazonite, which are stones of the third eye, the heart, and the throat chakra. So all about connecting to the highest divinity, expressing love, and self-expression communication. It's a repurposed hardcover book that I covered with kind of scrunched up tissue paper, then painted in layers of purple mixed with a little bit of black and white to give it lots of different dimension to the color, and then rubbed some gold wherever it was super scrunched. The closure is an organza ribbon, and I made it long enough so that your book can really grow, and there are lots of beautiful tassels and charms, and I'll show you those more specifically as we go through the book. So opening the front cover, it starts out with something really cool. I think of these sari trim pockets kind of like shelves that are holding an entire deck of printed out crystal oracle cards. I'll put the link to the printable shop where I bought these in the video description, but I thought it was just so much fun to print out an entire deck and then store them in the front cover so that when you're working with your book, if you're thinking that you need like a little journaling prompt, something to write about, or a little message for the day, you can go through and pick any card. And the backs are blank, which means you can do some journaling on them, like journaling cards, or you could write your personal association with the crystal or the gemstone that the card represents. And so the back, that kind of faded space looking stuff, that's one of the printables from my own Etsy shop. It's the space themed writing paper. And then the cards on the front are from another Etsy shop. Like I said, I'll put a link in the description to all the printables. So your message for the day is yellow topaz, a gem of good fortune, And it says, good fortune will soon manifest, and so will your gratitude to the universe. What a beautiful message. Let's look at 3 cards today. Malachite, which is one of the gems on the cover. You are protected from negativity while being gently encouraged to never give up. And then the 3rd message for the day, Carnelian, use your personal power to ignite your creativity. Fearlessly take action and achieve your goals. So very cool. They're fun, really beautiful. Each one is different. And I had a lot of fun figuring out how I was going to include them in this book. So I kind of like the shelf idea. And the paper in the background that's kind of lining the book is a wonderfully handmade paper from India. Wonderfully ornate, I was going to say, a wonderful cotton handmade paper that has some beautiful silver embossed areas. And of course the sari trim is also from India. So getting to the next page, I made a little window flip by tearing holes in some paper and then painting a leafy motif and then adding some sari trim cutouts. And then the next little window. And then this is a pocket. And I put a little mini journaling card that says dream, so you can write on the back of this. And I mainly put that in so that you can tell that this is a pocket. So if you like the woman in the center of the frame here looking into her crystal ball, you can leave that pocket empty because she's visible. Or if you would prefer to put a photo of yourself or your favorite crystal or a beloved pet, you can put anything in this pocket, and whatever is centered is going to appear in that floral window. So I thought that was kind of a fun thing. I did this once before in a book that I called Magic in the Midnight Garden, and I think I'll do more of them. It's a lot of fun, an interactive element. So here's a nice page for journaling with some crystals, a beautiful sari tab. I tried to leave quite a bit of space to actually write in this book, so whether it's being used as a book of shadows or a traditional journal or as a place to record or collage or do art, you've got lots of space. So pages like this, people sometimes wonder what to do with them. This is a printout from Jarf's shop, Medieval Mirage. I just love her work. So a page like this, you could leave it as is, as decoration, or paste photos to it. Use it for collaging. Lots of writing space here. I made a little mini book out of some very pretty paper and then put lots of strips in it. So a strip of tracing paper and just purple and blue, perfect to write on with gel pen. And these are nice to have if you ever want to tear a page out to write down an email address or a phone number or something, or write your crystal manifestation to use in spell work. It's on a page out of a book about crystals. So you know me, when I get onto a theme, I like to include lots of things pertaining to that theme. So each of the 3 signatures in this book will have one of these crystal book pages. I made a pocket out of more beautiful handmade paper from India. These are hand stamped, stenciled and hand stamped, just like really cool antique wallpaper used to be hand stamped. That's on a printable from a shop out of India on Etsy. And then some journaling cards. These are printables from the Moon Magic kit by Release the Craftin. And I backed those with some vintage dictionary pages. I really love this one. It's so beautiful with the moon phases. And then this one I made out of a really beautiful, left it blank on the back, so easy to journal on. One of my favorite Waterhouse paintings. This is a printable from my Etsy shop. It's the crystal writing paper pack, and I printed it half-sized. So the typical one would print out 8.5 by 11, and so a traditional writing paper size. But yeah, if you print it half size, 2 per page, you get the perfect size to fold into a junk journal. So a vintage book page, and I used a crystal or a diamond shaped paper clip to add some crystal sticky notes. And there are a couple on either side, so you can have fun writing little crystal notes on those and putting them wherever you want to. Another fun printable. This is one of my coffee dyed paper pack printables. And then I did a coffee dyed doily with a cutout mandala out of an origami paper pack as the center. And I didn't hang all the dangles outside of the book or it would have become too heavy, so I used some really pretty paper and just glued it to adorn these. And all the signatures in this book are removable. So they are sewn up, but you can pull them out and they're bound in with elastics, kind of like a traveler's notebook. So you can reuse the journal cover and replace it with any papers you want, or if you want to add pages to it, you can easily fold a paper in half and just slide it into here. I should demonstrate how easy it is to just pull this out, and then you can put another one in, store this once it's completed wherever you'd like to, and in that way it's like a never-ending book. You can use it for years and years and always have fresh writing paper inside. Oops, am I getting ahead of myself here? I think I am, yeah. So there's the center of the signature. And then we have the other sides of each of these papers. Another Release the Craft and Journaling card. The last one was a moon. This one is the sun. And I felt like the blue rose went nicely with the turquoise lotus on that gorgeous sari trim. This is one of my favorite sari trims. The other side of that crystal book. This fabric flip is a piece of fabric I found at a local thrift shop and just love the spirals and the suns and the stars. So that just folds upwards and you have all of this page for collaging or to tuck a little note. A really nice piece from the printable, the main set of printables I used for this book. I forget the name of the shop offhand, but like I said, I'll leave it in the video description in case you'd like to make a book with the same pages. I made a tiny little pocket to tuck a snippet of antique wallpaper. It's from 1927, so very old wallpaper. And then we have the beginning of the next signature. So this beautiful page, I love how it shines from turquoise to indigo. That's actually cut from a gift bag. And if you're into light work and things like that, you can record your favorite crystal healing spells. If not, you could easily just glue a blank piece of paper over this to cover it up, or use it as a page to collage. Once you get the book, it's yours to do with as you please. This paper has a really cool texture to it. It feels very, almost like a newsprint, but thicker than a typical newsprint. And it's an antique book from Japan that I found at a local antique shop. More printables. Some washi tape decorating the bottom of this printed page. The crystal information book for the central signature. some antique music paper from 1935, and I made it into a little skinny pocket where I put some crystal stickers that I printed out. So they are on sticky paper. You just have to cut them out with some scissors and then stick the gems wherever you like. And a bookmark made out of some really pretty paper. Blank on the back, I just distressed the edges with some distress ink. And then I stuck a little torn snippet of some starry paper here. You can use that as a collage piece or write a little secret message on the back. Sorry, I'm trying to stay in frame here, but I think I've mentioned in previous videos my tripod that I work with makes it a little hard to get the full book in focus. So here's the center of the middle signature. I decorated the string ends with little medallions that I cut out of a sari, silver and gold, very pretty. And then this page is a star chart out of a really cool space book that I found. And then I made a pocket out of origami paper and filled it with little note papers that are crystal themed and space themed. So you get a couple of each. They're all blank on the back, so they make beautiful little pages to include as notes to friends, or again to use for your own journaling, record your thoughts or poems. That pulls out, and the signature is also removable. All three of them are held in with elastic like this. So yeah, I just kind of tucked the envelope in here as a little bonus. And pardon all the glue on my fingers. I should have mentioned that earlier in the video, that it's not peeling skin or anything gross like that. It's just that I was crafting today before I started to film this video, so my fingers are a little bit gluey. Made a little skinny pocket out of sari trim on that antique music paper, and made a little envelope out of a printable that I designed, and it has a tiny little journaling card inside it. That's an antique Persian rug, and I just love the image, love the design. And then this little booklet is made out of Gemstone origami paper. So again, you can use it for collaging or write little notes or write little messages. The backs I left blank, but they're quite pretty because each is a different color. Really pretty gemstones. Like I said, it's a crystal healing themed book, and I really went nuts with that theme. I included as much crystal ephemera as I could. There's the bookmark that can be kind of moved to wherever you want in the book. It's glued to the inside of the spine. This fabric flip has a really beautiful beaded piece of vintage sari across the top. One of my favorite pieces, very ornate. And then that fabric flips up so you have more writing space or collaging space. And here is where I clipped a fun little vial. This is an item that I have in my Etsy jewelry shop, and I call it the Vial of Misfit Beads. It was around Christmas time that I made these, and I thought they'd be a good little stocking stuffer item, inspired by Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the little island of misfit toys. So it's a vial of misfit beads. They are all natural gemstones. And the reason that they didn't get made into jewelry is that there's something special about each of them. Special or defective. Some of them are broken. Some of them, the holes were misdrilled, so you can't really fit a string through them. Some were chipped, but they are still beautiful. And it's a symbol that even if something doesn't work the way you expect it to, it can be made into something else that will be valued and treasured. So you can either keep this in your book or give it to someone as a gift or wear it as a pendant. It is actually a pendant. Just be careful because it's real glass and very breakable. So another fabric flip on some beautiful paper, printed paper. And then this little envelope is printed from the same Etsy artist who designed the main printable pack used here. And to make a closure, I printed a beautiful image of moldavite, one of the most magical gems. It's actually an impact glass formed 15 million years ago when a huge meteorite crashed down in what's now the Czech Republic. And it's an amazing fusion of extraterrestrial material from that meteorite with earthly land that got melted on impact. So nobody knows, no scientist has been able to figure out why moldavite is this beautiful emerald green color. Because typically impact glass is black or dark brown, and it's only in that one place in the world that you get this gem quality green material. And it's become extremely rare and hard to source because the Czech government has actually banned mining for it. So it's very special, very powerful. And this book would have been $1 million book if I had put a real piece of moldavite in it. So instead I settled for a printed piece on cardstock to use to close this very mystical little envelope. But I've read, I think it was in the Book of Stones, in the introduction to Crystal Energy, the authors mentioned that even looking at a photograph of a gemstone, you can get some of the energy from that stone because you're connecting to it visually. So that's the other reason I like to put lots of pictures of crystals in this book, is that you can connect with that moldavite energy. And I left this envelope unglued so you can write something inside it. And I made a little tiny mini crystal healing book to go inside that envelope. Just staple bound, but super sweet. I try to include at least one miniature book in every full-size book. There's the other half of the Japanese paper. This page became a little pocket where I stuck another Waterhouse painting. A fabric flip with one of my favorite sequin sari trims. I've trained myself to say one of my favorite because otherwise I'll have too many favorites. This page has a really cool, whimsical garden vibe. The pocket is made out of this die-cut trim that I found at a local fabric shop and fell in love with it. I went there to buy glue and wound up finding all kinds of trims to put into journals. It was shockingly expensive, but I think it suits this page perfectly. So you can tuck whatever you like into here. These are some crystals that I printed onto a vellum page. Coffee dyed stenciled paper. This is a page out of a vintage lapidary magazine. Teaches you what you can do with slices of tree limbs. So if a branch falls in your backyard, you can maybe make some jewelry out of it. Cool advertisement for an old crystal shop. Like I said, I tried to leave lots of writing space in this one. There's a wax seal of a crystal cluster over a piece of that crystal paper. And this was hard to part with. I almost didn't put it into the book, but one of my local antique shops had a collection of stamps from Botswana, which is a famous country for crystal collectors because there's a rare form of agate found only in Botswana. And there were some stamps of crystals and gemstones. So this one is for moss quartz. And I felt like color-wise, it looked just perfect next to the crystal here. I don't know how to pronounce that one. Botriagen, maybe? Botriagen? Botriagen? An antique page out of a German kids book. Sari trim. Another little pocket page with a couple of journaling cards. Isn't that a cool crown for like a medieval fairy queen or some magical being? And then this gorgeous woman. I use pictures of her in a lot of my journals because I just love the side look and the gorgeous head wrap that she's wearing with the jewelry. Some beaded sari trim I stuck here because it looks like it could be from her scarf. And then just blank on this side for your journaling. This page has a really fun belly band with some of that gold leaf stuff that I had used as a bookmark elsewhere in the book, and a snippet of scrapbook paper, and then a couple of journaling cards. One is sunstone and the other is moonstone. And on the backs I used more of that gorgeous paper from Medieval Mirage, that printable. They say that sunstone is a masculine gem and moonstone is a feminine gem. So when you have both of them together, it's a perfect way to balance your inner masculine energy and inner feminine energy. And so along with the cards describing the properties of sunstone and moonstone, I've actually given you a sunstone and a moonstone. And by you, I mean whoever winds up buying this book. You get a little sample of sunstone and moonstone. And these you can take off the clip and wear them as charms. I absolutely love this printable image as the center for the signature. Again, it's removable, held in with the elastic. And this is the only one that I added dangly beads to because, like I said, I didn't want the book to get too heavy. So one is a fluorite bead with a little star that kind of fit the theme of the star chart. And then this one is a broken piece of polished quartz. And even though the bottom is broken, it actually arrived to me like this. I don't know what happened to the poor little crystal, but I kind of like the look. Like it reminds me of chipped ice or something. Just be careful because the edges are a little sharp, but it reflects rainbows really beautifully if you hold it in the sunlight. There's the last page from the crystal book. Okay, this is fun. The specimen card has natural pieces of watermelon tourmaline. So you have some green tourmaline, some pink tourmaline, and this slice here that is one of the most beautiful looking crystals in the world, in my opinion. That's pink in the center and green around the edges. So when it's sliced like that, it's reminiscent of a watermelon. And this printable is all about tourmaline. So there it's showing you some watermelon tourmaline slices. And here you actually have the real thing. So really gorgeous printable. And then the back is blank, so you can use that for journaling. Yeah, I had fun figuring out what to put in this stuff. So here you see that vintage crystal magazine was from 1994. More of that wood slice jewelry. This page has a tuck spot made out of some really beautiful aquamarine crystals I cut out of cardstock, and they match the sari trim really beautifully. And there I put a card about amethyst. And this coffee dyed paper has such a cool crinkly texture to it. It's coffee dyed linen paper, so even before the coffee dye, it had a cool texture, but I really like the way this one turned out. It looks like an ancient map page or something. The other side of that crinkly vellum with crystal prints. Another beautiful sari trim tab. And another. And that brings us to the back of the book. So in the back, I made a pocket out of this pretty sari trim. You might recognize it from the very front tab. And I filled it with some stickers for you to use. So this is a really pretty sheet. It has the phases of the moon, the 4 elements, earth, air, fire, and water. Sorry, earth, air, fire, and water. And then the 12 zodiac signs. And you get 2 of each. So I always like having 2 of each, like one set that I can use in my own journal and then one set that I can gift to a friend or use in pen pal letters. I also included a set of these cool stickers that I bought from Sticky that are runes. Really beautiful rune stones. Some gold framed crystal stickers that I thought would look perfect in this book. One of my business cards. I like to include those in the journals. And some washi tape for you to use in your crafts or your journal decorating. So some watercolor crystals, some rocks, some gemstones, and some washi stickers. And there you have it. So yeah, I think of this book as a companion book for a crystal healer. Maybe if you're learning how to work with crystals, it would be a good book to have because you have all the crystal information on the little oracle cards in the front. And yeah, whether you're into learning about the meanings of crystals or you just like the way they look, either way, I feel like this book has something really special. And I hope you enjoyed this little flip through, and whoever buys the book, I hope you love working in it as much as I loved making it. So thank you so much for joining me during today's flip through, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.